You have NBA Live 16. You have NBA Live 7. Oh wait, no, that never happened. NBA Live 18. Then we have NBA Live 19. And then coming up next is NBA Live 20. One could only imagine what EA is gonna do for that game. An NBA Live fan can only hope that this is the game to finally compete with 2K. For years, NBA Live has been in the shadow of NBA 2K. And in this video, I'm gonna introduce one idea, and should EA choose to implement this into their next game, it's easily gonna put the next NBA Live on watch. And with that being said, I think I've talked enough, so let's get into the topic of this video. In recent years, I've taken notice that NBA Live's most important game mode to them is their Rising Star mode, which is now known as the 1 mode as of NBA Live 18. And for those of you who aren't familiar with that, this is basically the equivalent to 2K's My Career. And since this is their most advertised mode, you can see just all the game modes that they have within it. You have a shoot around in your own My Court, you have the League, which is you playing in the NBA, the Streets World Tour, etc, etc. However, as a person who enjoys the NBA Live series, I must say personally, the NBA Live games get boring pretty quick to me. This doesn't apply to everybody, just me, myself, and I. I mean, it's only so much you can do in the game until it gets boring, and it's like only so many game modes, and I only find myself playing it for like an hour, if not less. And at this point, if I wanted to play the game, I would be forcing myself to do it. And I've talked about this before in recent videos, but EA needs to implement something into their game that's gonna make people want to play it more, or make new people want to try out the game because of this game mode. So if you couldn't tell by the title of this video already, the idea I have for NBA Live 20 is that they should incorporate a story into their The 1 mode.
Wait.
Instead of focusing on putting cutscenes in the game that everybody's gonna skip anyway, how about we just focus on the gameplay, since that's been the main issue for the past year.
Now, of course, EA does need to work on the gameplay for NBA Live, but let's just talk about things that they can add that can make the game more enjoyable and make fans want to try the game out. When EA has games such as Madden and FIFA, where they incorporate a career mode that also has a cinematic story that basically draws you into the game as well, it makes you think, well, what about NBA Live? Why isn't that game getting any love? Now, we know one thing that separates Madden and FIFA from NBA Live is the Frostbite engine. But you see the type of detailed storytelling that they do with Madden and FIFA. Imagine that with a basketball game. Picture this scenario. You're a high school prospect, participating in several tournaments and training camps, and depending on how you play, you either get some good looks from D1 colleges or some not so great looks. Let's say you play average in the tournaments. No college wants you. No colleges that'll put you on the map at least. So you go overseas and try and show out over there. Once you play through that season, you then declare for the NBA draft, and when the draft comes around, you participate in pre-draft workouts, trying to show off your talents and prove you're worthy. And depending on how good you do, you can either get drafted or go undrafted. Now let's say you go undrafted. Now you're fighting for a 10-day contract, maybe even a spot on a G League roster. And maybe you have like family issues along the way. It's just, I'm just putting out examples here. But I have the confidence that if EA were to do something like this, they can put together a great basketball story that'll draw the player in. It'll make them not even want to skip the cutscenes if they had the option to. Now, if you're watching this video and if you're into the idea that I'm bringing you, I'm sure you've seen a number of stories from athletes talking about their trials and tribulations, documentaries on ESPN on, the come up of an athlete and how it wasn't easy. Things like that. I have no doubt in my mind EA will be able to put together a great story, even better than 2K. Since 2K really hasn't tried to do anything like that. Their closest, I would say, would be 2K16. And I mean as far as like a serious story. Shoot, you can throw 2K19 in there too. But bottom line, of course we want NBA Live to improve on gameplay. That goes without being said. But if you want something that's gonna bring fans back to want to play the game, if you have something like this and incorporate different scenarios, then people are going to keep playing the game to find out all the different paths they can take. And I'm sure there's people watching this video thinking, well, this is supposed to be a basketball game, not a storytelling driven narrative, whatever you want to call it. But if you ever think about it, sometimes what makes the great athletes so great is their story. And that doesn't mean you have to have a great story to be a great athlete. I just said that because it kind of sounded dope, and you hear all these stories from athletes and you watch these documentaries on what it took for them to get to the league, what they had to sacrifice, and it's very interesting to watch. But for once, let us experience it for ourselves through a game. Let us make the decisions and see the different outcomes. That would just be interesting to me personally. I would love to see something like this in a game, especially from EA. Only because I can actually see them doing this more so than 2K, because, you know, 2K is going to give us a good story, but nothing, I don't know. I guess I'm just talking, but it will be interesting, no doubt. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you made it this far, first and foremost, I want to say thank you. And if you're interested and into the idea that I brought to you, then leave a comment on what kind of story you would like to see in an NBA Live game, or even 2K for that matter. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, because it really motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. If you didn't enjoy the video, then leave a comment on how I can make it more enjoyable for others. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, because just like liking the video, it really motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. And other than that, I'm yours truly, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
I let my nuts hang, stupid.